Right then, welcome to a brand new thing here on the channel. This is going to be a new series of movie reviews for you, decided by you. Now, this was put up on Twitter. As you can see, I put out 3 Korean movies, and it came back that you guys wanted me to review The Train to Busan. Now, I left the poll up there for 3 days, and the interaction was quite good. If you guys want to get involved in future polls, future decisions, and also make some suggestions, then by all means, please do head on over to my Twitter at Mr. H Reviews. However, that out of the way, we are here to review The Train to Busan. Now, first, what I will do is start to talk in non-spoiler terms. I will then tell you we're going into spoiler territory, and then get right into the spoiler part of the review. First things first, I always start by basically saying whether you should watch a movie or not. And undoubtedly, yes, you should watch this film without a shadow of a doubt. This is a movie, and again, all non-spoilers, but this is a film where it completely knocks the zombie genre tropes on the head in a really smart way. It doesn't exclude zombie horror tropes. They're there, but it does it in a really smart way, which really shifts the genre around a little bit, and it was a joy to watch. So what is the story? Well, essentially what we've got is a father and daughter trying to reach Busan to see the daughter's mother, and obviously the estranged husband. Now, what happens whilst they're on the train to Busan? A zombie virus breaks out in South Korea, and the passengers struggle to survive on the train from Seoul to Busan. So like I say, in terms of a zombie horror trope, you have a really, really fantastic setting. A train. Who on earth would have thought about putting a zombie horror movie on a train? But good God, does it work. And what it does from a technical aspect is it lends itself to some fantastic scene setting. And just the way the shots are framed is so beautiful. It's a very, very enclosed space. And what you've got is a movie which has a runtime of 2 hours. So in terms of those 2 hours in combination with the scene setting, and yes, it is a foreign movie with subtitles, but in doing so, they establish a real connection to the audience. You feel for this father and daughter, you feel for the characters, because there's no open space. There's no grandiose things happening. You are enclosed on a train, and they're very real people. So, like I say, in terms of the zombie trope, yes, it's a zombie movie. Yes, you've seen zombie movies left, right, and centre. And yes, they're pretty much all the goddamn same. But this is absolutely not your run-of-the-mill zombie movie. The effects of the zombies are quite good, to be perfectly honest. The design, there's nothing too strange about them. They go a little bit white in the face, and they have black veins, and their eyes whiten as if they've got cataracts. But it does it really, really well. And the way the actors who are portraying the zombies move in quite jolted and stilted movements, and their fast pace when they kind of get a scent and they get towards you, that's great. They do that zombie part really, really well. It's not your normal mindless zombies just, tropesing around really slow and, the Walking Dead type. These zombies are kind of, without going into spoilers, these zombies are not the average kind of undead, and they do move with a purpose. So that was very, very good about this. I really did enjoy that. But I really do have to praise the kind of father and daughter duo and how they build this rapport during the film. It's very, very, very good. And by rapport, I don't mean the rapport between the characters. I mean the rapport with the audience, the level of engagement that you get from these characters. And the side characters, the characters which float around these main two, is fantastic. They do it in a really, really good way. There's a fair few of them, and the way they build up the interaction is very human. And the way the others build up around these people, again, is all very, very human. There's a massive sense of desperation to these people. And there are very fight or flight moments. There are some sinister things at play here and there where, this would actually happen. People would potentially sacrifice other people to save themselves, or potentially lead others to death to save themselves, and vice versa. Some people would rescue others just because they want to succeed, and that feeling of desperation leads you to want to group together. So in terms of how they establish the very real human aspect to this interaction was fantastic. It was really, really, really good. But in terms of, like I said, in terms of the technical aspect, it was superb. The lighting was absolutely astounding. And just the way they frame those scenes and how kind of personal and very up close it is such a refreshing take on the zombie horror trope. The soundtrack, awesome, actually. It was really, really, really good. And like I said, kind of midway through, I mentioned the runtime being 2 hours. I initially thought that would be of detriment to the film, but I was so very wrong. That 2 hour runtime leads to the ending where you just go, my God, I really, really, what a great investment of 2 hours. And it needed it. It needed those 2 hours to really establish what they were trying to portray in the film. I think if it was any shorter, I don't think it would have been as impactful. So, again, this is all non-spoiler territory. The acting was fantastic. The father and daughter duo was Seok-woo and Soo-an. They were awesome. I, generally speaking, don't like child actors, but Soo-an was great. Really, really believable, actually. There was a few lines here and there which just didn't really land. In terms of how it came across. It obviously, I don't speak Korean, but you could kind of tell it was forced a little bit in kind of her mannerisms and how she was acting it out. But 90% of the time it was great and she was really, really believable. And in terms of Seok-woo, the father to Soo-an Kim in the film, awesome. Such an astounding performance from Seok-woo. Really, really, really good. And like I said, wholly believable. Absolutely wholly believable. The 2 hour runtime establishes itself really well because if you're not used to reading subtitles as you go through, you find yourself just blurring it out and very invested in the film as if you're not actually reading subtitles. And as a result of that, like I say, these performances came to life. Very, very good. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Sang-hwa. He was so good in this film. And I really, really do mean that. He was a standout. There's some moments of levity here. I mentioned the personal interaction. The moments of levity was fantastic between all of these people. And like I say, it is very human. You know, people do add an air of levity here and there to desperate fight or flight situations because quite literally sometimes you do that as a instinctive method to remove some of the drastic tension in the air. And it established itself very, very well. So if you haven't seen The Train to Busan, you must watch it. This is enough for spoilers. I'm going to go into spoiler territory now. You have been warned. Okay, so let's go into the spoiler territory. The ending. Holy fucking shit. That ending was so good. And I mentioned this in the non-spoilers, you've obviously just heard it. How they built up the interaction and the believability of these characters. For Seok-woo, Yu-gong, the father of the daughter, to die the way he did was just unbelievable. And what an absolutely beautiful way they framed that death. It was so heartfelt and so tense. And you could cut the emotional power of that scene with a knife. It was so strong. You didn't see him die. You just see his shadow fall off the back of a train. But so incredibly beautiful. And like I say, the 2 hour runtime lends itself so well for that moment to have that impact. Because you've just spent 2 hours pretty much, you know, fighting for these characters. Really rooting for them. You want them to succeed. And yet they do a 180 twist on you. And yeah, he died. It was amazing. And like I said as well, Sang-hwa, he was a great character. The big burly dude and his wife, the pregnant wife. His death was unbelievable. But again, because you felt that these people were actually real people, you thought, yes, wow, okay, I feel for this character now. And his death came completely left field. I thought he was going to survive. I feel he should have survived. But the beauty of the film is that because he didn't survive and they made it such an impactful death, you don't feel robbed in that moment. It was really, really, really good. A standout, to be perfectly honest. Now, in terms of what I didn't really like, and I should have covered this in non-spoilers, to be perfectly honest, but it's such a minor thing. It's just the visual effects of these zombies when they're all grouped together and kind of piled up on top of one another and smashed through things here and there. It was just a little bit wonky here and there, but generally speaking, as a whole, the visual effects were fantastic. And the overall story of how the zombie apocalypse started in this movie, this universe, it's not that bad. It's nothing which I really can throw some kind of flags at. They didn't really broadcast it too much. They didn't really throw it out there as something which you have to focus on. It was more just the fact that there's a desperate moment, a desperate catastrophe, and you have to survive. So it was done in a really, really clever way. I genuinely really enjoyed this film. If you haven't seen it, but you're still watching the non-spoiler territory, this is a film where you really would rob yourself if you don't spend 2 hours watching it. You know, sit down, really invest in it. Don't have any distractions. This is a movie where you should really be engaged, and you won't be disappointed. If you watch this film and you don't come away thinking that this is one of the better of the zombie movies for the last 5 years, I'd be very, very surprised. It's a fantastic film, and it really goes to show what, you know, alternative cinema can do. I say alternative, it's Korean cinema, but it really goes to show giving the other theatre markets a chance in your own home and your own market is really something that you must do. And I know that they're supposedly going to be planning a Western remake of this. It doesn't need to be done. You don't need to watch that. Watch the original. It's fantastic. You won't be disappointed. So guys, there you go. That's out of the way. I've given you my review. You have to watch it. It's just one of those films that if you don't, you've robbed yourself. And you've robbed yourself of 2 hours of a really enjoyable time. So if you've watched it, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know if you enjoyed it as much as I did. Let me know if you had any issues with it, other than the ones I've outlined. And like I say, my only issues were really the visual effects on the zombies. And even then, it was in keeping with the aesthetic that they established. So I wasn't too bothered by it. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you want to decide a future review for you, decided by you, head on over to my Twitter at Mr. H Reviews, and you can take part in the next poll for another movie review. So, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Stick around for more content in the future. And as always, I've been Mr. H. Until next time, I will catch you in the comment section.